Dean,
Going live.
like, oh, we're good. I like the tight end room. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, with Dingle, you know, Caddis. I mean, we got guys that Willie Rodriguez that Mero was like, man, he's a guy. I mean, I like what we're doing in that room. So the O
Absolutely.
line, I mean, guys. But the thing is, like always, the schedule is not friendly. you
Yeah,
know,
I think I was telling somebody, I said, with the team that we have this year, because I believe we have a top 25
I
defense.
think so too. I feel that
And
way.
of course, the question mark's been on the offense. I was like, man, this is the crazy. The year that we have a team that I feel like could potentially have a very, very good balance
Yeah, right.
is when the SEC expands and we
Yeah,
got to go
right.
on the road to
And we had
Texas.
in that Texas, at Austin. Yeah,
Yeah, man, like, sheesh.
I know, man.
But
I'm going
that's
to that game. I think.
that's part of it, man. Oh man, that's gonna be great.
Oh, I'm so excited to see that. You know, like that. That's just a. I mean, we've got a lot of things. I think the running back room is going to be interesting early. Obviously, with Chip out early. You know what I'm saying? And that how he works back into the fold. If we can protect him and keep him healthy, what style of back he's going to be. How heavy do we lean on it? Like, it's just there's a lot of things. Bush Hampton's
Right.
going to get him out. I mean, they're going to get guys in space. You know what I mean? Like he's gonna work those guys out in the perimeter too, which I like. It isn't going to be just strictly smash mouth football.
Yeah.
Sometimes we've been stale to a degree, right, with the running game. I mean, I wish Ray Davis was back. Like,
Man. Woo-wee.
I mean, if you had that guy for a few years, you know. Speaking
Yeah,
of,
but
I mean, don't you think Ray Davis is about as good as we've had around here? I mean,
I think if I would have loved it more to see him with the typical old lines we've had with
yeah,
Wolf.
right,
You know what I'm saying?
right,
Like
right,
I would
right.
have loved to see what that
What would
happened.
it have been with that guy, with that line in front of him?
Man.
The Benny Snell lines that like the lines
Yeah.
that them guys were running behind.
Man, absolutely. That would have been nasty. Just to see how he would do behind them
Man,
would
stop
have
it.
been
Like he's
crazy.
getting 5 yards down the field before a touch, and he's just got a guy to beat because he made a lot of plays,
He
that
did,
were
man. He was tough.
created.
Uh,
Yeah, and he's doing well. I mean, he shined as a rookie, in the preseason. He was one of the top 10 rated rookies in the NFL, grade wise. He's with the Bills, I think, right?
Let me double check.
Yeah, he shined.
I think he is.
He did. Him and the tight end was the number one rated rookie, the tight end from UK.
Yep, he's the Bills.
Yeah, it's Bills, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at this, two deep, man.
Welcome to episode 1, season 2, Cats versus Cards. How is everybody doing? It's been a while. It's been a while. All right, so we're in here live. We're waiting for people to come and join us. I know you guys aren't used to us being on it now. We took the summer off a little bit. We had a lot going on with Mark Pope and this Kentucky basketball team. Also had a lot going on with the Louisville basketball team as well with their new coach. KP. They got another KP, but PK. But yeah, it looks like a youth pastor. But anyway, we're here today. We're going to talk all Kentucky football. Our Louisville counterparts will be on here a little bit later this week to talk all Kentucky, all Louisville football. But right now, this is all Kentucky football show. If you do me a favor, please like and share this broadcast. Hey guys, and go on. You see right down below. You see where it says YouTube Cats versus Cards. 2169. Hey, I didn't make up the name. That's what YouTube assigned me. But I need to get those memberships up. If you guys will subscribe, get those numbers up, then we can get a normal URL. So it just be Cats versus Cards. But I want to put this out here. I want to do a giveaway. $300 gift card. All you guys have to do is subscribe on YouTube Also on our Facebook channel. Now we have a Facebook group, Cats versus Cards Facebook group. You have to subscribe on there as well. Subscribe on both of those. I'm gonna run this for about a month. So for 4 weeks, we got the first show today. We got 3 more shows after this. We're gonna run those. Then we're gonna put all the numbers and all the subscriptions in the hat. If you subscribe to both of them, we'll put you in the hat. We'll draw them out. $300 gift card. But you have to subscribe to both Facebook and YouTube, not just one. Facebook and YouTube. And the goal, guys, is we got to get up to 1,000 subscribers. If we can get up to 1,000 subscribers, that number goes up. When I say that number, I'm talking about the amount of that we give in that gift card goes up. Right now, we're going to we'll do it again. But right now, $300 gift card. Like and share and subscribe in this. All right. So a little bit of business out the way. Hope everybody's good. What's up, Ross? To my right, Ross. What's going on, man?
What's happening? Hey, if you guys see the shirt, it's National Pups Day, National Dogs Day. I'm representing Boomer and my Wildcats, of course. So all love. Hey, I'm excited about the year. I hope that everyone else is. Hey, Wildcats, we ready to get to it.
There you go. There you go. To my left, PJ. What's going on? How you doing, man?
Hey, what's up, guys? Look, happy to be here. Glad to be with my boy Will, my boy Ross, man. Ready to talk about these cats. See what we're gonna do this year. Excited about it.
Yeah, getting back at it. Get back at it. Well, like I've been saying, guys, this is an all UK football show. So let's get at it. First off, let's look at this. Let's look at the depth chart. Let's start looking at this depth chart. I know we already discussed the depth chart as we was getting prepared for this, but I don't know if you guys are abreast to everything. But earlier today, or is it yesterday, the depth chart was actually made available. So we'll go ahead and share that right now. Yes, we are on KSR's website. If you guys can look at that, you see Brock Vandergriff is the number one quarterback. Gavin Wimsatt, they'll have a package for him. There's nothing surprising there at all with Cutter Boley, as it says, or number 3. So he's moving on up, I guess. Then we move on down to our running back. We got Demi Sumbo, Karngbe, and Jason Patterson, the true freshman, coming in as a backup running back. Now, I think we should make known here that Chip Trainum, he broke his hand, so he's going to be out for a while. I don't know how many games he's going to miss or whatnot, but hopefully he'll be back soon. But we're going to go I don't know if you guys have heard, but we're going to be going by committee on that. So we're going to be playing these 2 guys, but then we also have Wilcox that we're going to be bringing up as well. That's going to be playing. So there's going to be a nice rotation there. Any thoughts on that, guys?
I mean, I think that obviously the plan was for Chip Trainum to be the guy, right? The one. And
Yeah.
then you've got great depth with a senior that's seen a lot of games with Sumo Kambe. So you've got a lot there. And the true freshman, I'm excited to see the true freshman. I mean, if the true freshman gets some carries, I'm really excited about that. This is SEC play, and true freshmen don't get to see the field like that too often. So excited. I think it'll be
Yeah.
a work in progress, though, right? So we'll see
Right.
how that goes. Yeah.
Yep. Work in progress. And no surprise here at the X receiver, we got Barry and Brown. Should hopefully he'll be an All-American or close to it this year. Kick return and wide receiver, Fred Ferrier. Hey, I've been hearing some good things about Fred Ferrier in coming out of camp. And it looks like he's backing up 2 positions, the X and the Z, with Dane Key starting over there at the Z. So hopefully him and Barryon, they'll really get it going this year. Last year was kind of a disappointment with the drops and then also not being right at quarterback. But another year, another chance. And Jamari, how are we saying this? Jamari Macklin. That one, I can't wait to actually see him with the other 2. PJ, what are you thinking right here with this wide receiver core?
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I guess like really when we think about college, whether it's no matter the sport, guys typically will improve and progress as the year goes on. And though we've kind of made some changes at the wide receiver coach position and the offensive coordinator position, we know what Barryon can bring, right? We know Barryon can he's the guy that's over the top. If he can get better at, reeling the ball, like you said, we had some issues, miscommunication, certain passes, all those things. I feel like it helps us out a lot. Dane's a big target. I've watched Dane play most of his life. I rarely seen him drop football. So all
Yeah.
that was new to me last year. So I'm pretty sure he can get back on schedule and he provides a big target for us. And then Macklin, of course, he's the senior that comes in, I believe from Houston, right?
Right. Yep.
North,
Ah,
And
no, no, no. North
North
Texas. North
Texas,
Texas.
North Texas.
North Texas, my bad,
Hmm.
my bad.
Yep.
North Texas, I think um, he brings something as well as a guy who's been a number one option and everything as well. More of a balanced guy, can get in space and make some plays as well. So I think we got a really balanced group of receivers. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do, and hopefully the quarterback can match that.
And you know what? You bring up something because when you said Houston, we got a new wide receiver coach. So to see
That's what
Shorts
I was thinking.
works with these guys and see how they develop, because he is one guy that has it's a young guy, high energy guy, supposed to be good at development. I mean, it'd be good to see how these guys really adjust to him and really flourish.
And
So
what I like about the guys that you mentioned, right? We're talking about. Let me look here just to make sure I'm junior, red shirt, senior,
yeah,
and you're in a junior, right? So one thing that I noticed that I felt like that we struggled with in the past as we worked Berrien and Dane early, right, as freshmen and sophomores, was blocking on the perimeter and then like knowing the assignments. It seemed like the skills there, skill set that we can't question, right? I think Dane
yeah,
catches about everything in his radius. Berrien is about the fastest player we see, but a lot of times like knowing the hot route, making the right play. I think now that you're juniors and yet the seniors come into the mix, that's an experienced room. A lot of
exactly,
plays,
yeah.
seen a lot of things. So I think much more prepared to take on the load of an SEC schedule.
Yeah, yeah, you called it. Red shirt junior, red shirt senior. Then you got ABS in there as a sophomore. So yeah,
And super
definitely,
talented,
definitely.
right? So
Yeah,
that's the
and super
charger, right?
talented, super talented
That's the
at that.
lightning charger that they might plug in every now and again. Like, let's go.
Yeah. And then we come over here at tight end, and we're looking at Josh Caddis and Willie Rodriguez. And Willie Rodriguez, he's a true freshman at that. But starting, that's still some more experience. What we've been talking about, it seems like it's a theme right here. We're looking at a lot of experience, except for of course our quarterback. But everybody else we looked at because we got Jordan Dingle also redshirt junior. Redshirt junior, what we seen redshirt senior, redshirt junior, true junior, senior. So it's a lot of experience right there. I think that should
Hmm.
make people feel good with this offense. And then also, let's not forget we got a new offensive coordinator as well. And the offense won't be world of a difference, but I mean something that's more college friendly. Go ahead, PJ. I seen you over there dancing. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, is he really new? You know what I'm saying? I was just saying because
Yeah,
it's kind of like back home type thing.
right. All right, let's go on down here and look at this offensive line real quick.
Could I say as we're going down to offensive line, I do think Patterson, as Ross mentioned, is someone to watch. I've heard people talk about how in practice and in camps they were saying like he's more of that Boone Williams type of back, which would be a good balance to Chip as
Oh
well.
yeah.
Chip being that power back and then having a guy like who can really get out there and break away.
Mm-hmm.
So the freshman, I'm hoping this first game this year that he has an opportunity to go out there because those are the ones who kind of shock some of the conference opponents because they don't really know much about them. So
Right.
when you get to put them out there in situations, they can do something that can
Right.
really spark
Well,
something.
I think that, and one thing I like about this running back group, like you said, that Patterson being that Boone Williams type guy, that speed guy, but then you got DSK. He's really a balanced guy. I wouldn't call him speed, but he's a balanced guy, very, very versatile. Then you got Chip Trainum when he's healthy. He's that bigger back that can get you tough yards. It's like you got a little bit of everything in those three like bundled together. So
And then
that's
combined with what you got going up front, like where you're going to, which this is why I've liked Stoops' approach to building the program, right?
yeah,
We've invested. in the trenches. We have big boy trenches. I mean, just look across the board here. Marquez Cox, right? Who's a super senior transferred in, right? Not this year, but the year before, right? Or there was even the year before that. 6'5", 318. Jaeger Burton, hometown kid. 6'4", 316-pound junior. Eli Cox, super senior.
Super senior.
6'4". Jalen Farmer, right? So we go young with the right guard, but that's the place that you can actually go younger if you got size and talent in there. So
Yeah.
I mean, I think and you got Eric Wolford back to coach him, back from Alabama. So I
And
mean,
we got one hurt as well. What's his name? I can't think of
mhm,
his name. He transferred from USC last year. He's
yeah,
hurt right now. He actually factors in over at right center.
I-
So I
yep,
mean right center, at right
right
tackle.
guard,
So
or yeah,
right now we're running
he
with
got
Gerald
Mincy
Mincy
too.
there, but
Yeah,
I mean, it's still a lot of experience right there. Jalen Farmer is
hmm
probably the most green, but still a lot of experience right there. So I mean, when you look at our offense overall, the one thing definitely is experience, and I think you said it earlier, PJ, that there was somebody that came out and was like, if Brock Vandergriff, if he's the quarterback, he's supposed to, that 5-star coming out of high school, then this offense can really take off. We've got
Yeah,
skill positions everywhere. You have experience everywhere. Go ahead.
yeah. He was pretty much saying, and I forget the gentleman's name. He's from PFF. But he was pretty much saying after going to the practices and seeing these things, he was saying, he said if he is like if he is that 5-star quarterback, he said Kentucky will be dangerous. And again, I equate that to him not saying, we're going to be 11-1 or 10-2. That would be nice. But
Right.
I think more so saying that, Kentucky's going to be a really, really, really good team because we all know the defense is there and we're going to head there soon. But the question mark right now, of course, clearly is just offensively. Like, is he going to be the quarterback that Kentucky needs? How does it fit well with the new OC and with the receiving group that we have and the running back group we have? But I think again, you start like you said, Ross, with the trenches being established and who they are, getting back to the basis of having a you call it a dominant O line because we was running the ball really well for the last few years, right before Walford left.
yeah.
Before he left, and I think if those positions are what we need them to be, we can have a really good season.
I
Yeah.
think for fans that watch us and watch you all and listen to people talk, for their circles and their friends that are on the 65 miles west, people are going to throw out, oh yeah, but so was Devin Leary. Oh yeah, so was Will Levis in his second year. There's going to be question marks and people are going to throw things at you. You just have to be like, listen, trust the process. We trust Stoops. We trust Mero. We've brought
Mm-hmm.
guys back to the fold that are our foundation, and we're doing it the way that has worked for us, building from where we've come from to a very solid program. Now, can we
I,
take a step up against a very challenging schedule? That will be
yeah.
interesting.
You know what? I actually feel like Mags, and that's all right, Mags. I see your comment. It's cool, man. We got it from here. I appreciate it, man. But yeah, one thing I want to say, I don't forgot my thought. I started talking to Megs. But yeah, one thing that we did notice was last year they really hyped up Devin Leary. We heard a lot of things about Devin Leary. We heard that this offense was almost the best thing since sliced bread, and then it didn't pan out. I think that because I've seen this just a little bit, not a whole lot, but fans were like, okay, well, we haven't heard the glowing remarks about Brock Vandergriff. Like, is that something that we need to worry about? But I really think that what's happened here is number one, Brock Vandergriff is younger than Larry was. Larry was a fifth-year senior. Brock Vandergriff, he's not coming in as a fifth-year senior. He's a little bit younger. Number two, when they did that to Devin Leary, they put a lot of pressure on him. So without doing that with Brock Vandegrift, he still comes in with pressure because you're a starting quarterback, but not as much pressure to come in and be that man right away.
And not coming
So
off a
I
major
think it was
injury too, right?
strategic not to go ahead.
No, no,
Go
I
ahead.
wouldn't. I didn't cut you off. I'm sorry, but he didn't come off of a major injury too, right? Because Devin Leary was coming off a
Exactly.
major shoulder, pectoral, I mean, like, so there was a whole lot that we were actually working through. Had
Yep.
we been a little more sensible with our approach, we should have been like, kid's got talent. He can spin the ball, but let's wait. Let's work through this. So
Right.
I think this year the media and our fans have taken more of that approach because
Yeah.
the guy's a 5-star guy. He could ascend to greatness, right? But let's see him
Hmm.
do it. So that's kind of where
Yeah.
we are. If he can, then we can. So that's where
Yeah,
we are.
let's see him do it instead of doing all the talking. So I think
That's
that's
right.
really what the aim is, instead of pumping them up like that.
Hmm.
I'm just really excited, and I know PJ, we went on and on last year. Number one, PJ, I think PJ's been praying, guys, because number one, he said we need a quarterback that can run. Check that box. We actually got two. And then he said, what else you say? We need to move faster. Check that box as well. We got a no huddle. So I mean, I'm just really interested to see how Bush Hamden runs his offense, see what we look like, see how sharp or what we need to work on. It's really going to be interesting. It's really going to be interesting. What let me ask you guys, what does a successful season look like for you?
8 wins.
No, just
I
for the
think.
offense. For the offense.
Okay. My bad. My apologies. Oh, so what is it? What does a successful offense look like for Bush Hamden?
For him, yeah.
I
You
mean,
got a
one, we need to be
lot
competent.
at your
That's a
disposal,
lot.
but at the same time,
You're
go ahead.
playing the SEC. I
Yeah.
think we have to have a competent plan of attack that looks connected, right? Because there's at times where either we the fans or the game itself looks like Stoops is not connected to what we're trying to accomplish. Like, I don't want to go into stall offense and run out the clock with
Yeah.
8.5 minutes, 10 minutes to go. I'm not saying that we push the gas the entire time, but it should be a cohesive effort, right?
Yep.
So down the field attack, run the ball. What's working? Let's lean on. Take advantage of guys in space when we have that advantage. I mean, I just think it's sensible, right? We don't have to recreate the wheel. I think it's just have a connected attack that looks like we have a plan in place.
I feel you. I feel you on that. What'd you say, PJ?
Yeah, man. I think a successful offense this year is one that doesn't see as many three and outs. That's
Hmm.
one. But I think it also that there is a healthy balance, right, between the run game and the pass game. Because at the end of the day, we have to understand that this season is recruiting not just this year. It's not just big recruiting for the NIL situation, but it's also big for the upcoming recruiting classes. We need to know. Cutter needs to know how we're gonna really be playing this game. And
Yeah.
is it a game plan that can see me drafted? Because I think that's one thing that has helped us defensively is we've seen Bud Dupree get drafted, right? We've seen Josh Allen get
Hmm.
drafted, right? We've seen a host of linebackers get drafted. So that speaks for
Right.
itself. Guys are looking at those things. So to me, the success is kind of indicative of, are we getting guys on draft boards? Of course,
Gotcha.
winning games. I guess we have to win games. But to me, is, are we getting guys on draft boards? Converting the third downs. You know what I'm saying? I want to see us a little bit more aggressive too. I would like to see us not be, as you mentioned, Ross, is stale, going to the stale offense. I don't want to see that. As you mentioned, Will talked about it before, man, speeding up the offense a little bit, kind of become more into. I understand the embracing of the pro style offense, but
Yeah.
also that modern version of it, which is like I said, with the quarterbacks who can run, because as we see, with pretty much every team that's winning, the quarterbacks can move.
Yeah. Yeah.
Carson Beck, for what he
I'm.
was, he can still move.
It puts more pressure on the defense. When
Stresses
you
the
have to
defense.
account for that moving quarterback, it gets tough.
And we've got to be able to play tempo sometimes. We don't have to be Tennessee tempo. We don't have to be Ole Miss tempo, but we do have to strike when we get the opportunity. When we get the advantage and tempo works for us, we need a tempo, tempo, tempo. Because we've
Yeah.
been the other side.
Oh
We've
yeah.
always been we've been like to blow you into quicksand in 3 yards in a cloud of dust, plow your head off and keep the ball for 10-minute drives. But then if we don't capitalize on that and the team quick strikes us like Tennessee, then we're outmanned. So
Hmm. Yeah. I will say this because I think PJ, you brought up draft picks and such. I will say this, and I don't think that it's a big secret, but word has gotten out that this is Barryon Brown's last year at Kentucky, so everybody can just write that down. Regardless if he goes to the NFL or not, this is last year at Kentucky, and I think even the coaching staff knows that. So it's either he gets drafted or he's transferring. So we know that. So if we're talking about draft picks, then we got to look at Barryon as he's got to be that draft pick, and that won't even just be success for Hamden. It's also for DeKel Shorts as well as the new wide receiver coach.
Yep. It's a bag day. You know what I'm saying? The NIL, the transfer portal, it's a different day. You know what I'm saying? Guys are selling themselves to either the NFL or the big program with the big bag, different than, middle of the
Yep.
road teams that can develop you and get you to the league. Well, now guys get developed and go stand out on the biggest stage of all stages. So it's a different day. You're right. Good point.
Yep. It's a completely different day. Completely different day. But yep, offense is offense cannot be ranked. Let's see how many Division I teams are there? 117. We have to be. To me, we have to be in pace of play at least in the 50s. But I'll still be kind of like, I wish we were faster at that. But at least somewhere in the 50s. If we are, that's a huge improvement because I don't know if people realize, well, with Rich Gangarello, we was dead last. But last year, we was still like in the 70s or 80s, I want to say.
Yeah, our pace of play has been one of the poorest in the SEC for the last like 3 or 4 years. Pace of
Yeah.
play, tempo, right? Snaps, offensive snaps. Like we have to be the way we've played is a close to the vest style. So when we turn the ball over, it's catastrophic. Because we're getting out snapped by 30 snaps.
Mm-hmm.
Even games we won. So 80 to 60 snaps is a big difference.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. I actually seen somewhere that somebody talking about getting 100 snaps, and I was just like, whoa, we get 100 snaps, we're moving.
Oh, yeah, we're winning. I mean,
Yeah.
if we've done that.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and move on a little bit, fellas. We done talked about this offense. Let's look at this vaunted defense.
Yeah.
Yes, I put that in the description of this podcast because that's what everybody's talking about. You got an experienced front. I heard PJ talk about it earlier how we got an SEC front this year. Even though we got Josiah Hayes, he's hurt, he's out this year. We shouldn't feel that. We should be able to absorb that. So we're starting out Trayvon Ribka, senior, at defensive end. And like we've been talking about, experience. Not just Ribka, but also Octavius Oxidine. Both of them seniors at defensive ends. Then nose, we got Keyshawn Silver, redshirt junior. And let me tell you, he's the most athletic nose that we've had in the Stoops era. And last year, I kind of nitpicked with him because I knew he was athletic enough to do some things that other guys, we didn't do. And we gained some yards on him. But this year, I really want to see him step up. I want to see him dominate right beside Deion Walker. That's going to be those two guys up front is going to be that's going to be fun to watch.
I think fans need to feel excited. And when you start talking about what UK is, one thing that we should be able to talk and feel comfortable talking about is the fact that we are going to be stout on the defensive side of the ball and in those trenches.
Yeah.
And folks want to talk about name me 3 or 4 that are better. There's going to be some good programs out there with some D lines that are tough. We've got one too.
Oh yeah.
Proven. These are proven guys. Like all these guys can get after it, and they got size and they're athletic freaks. Deion Walker and Keyshawn Silver are unicorns. The way they move, the size they have, and Ribka is no slouch, and Oxendine is no slouch. But
strong
those
as
two
an
guys
ox.
are unicorn. I mean, come on, man.
Ribka is strong as an ox. Oxidine is as well. But Keyshawn Silver, you got a former 5-star. Deion Walker, you got a former borderline 4 or 5-star as well. Those two, and then these two, Ribka and Oxidine, was 4-star guys. So Kentucky, they
Year one, man.
recruited some
Year
talent.
one. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not a professional, y'all. Just so y'all know, I'm not the coach, right? Year one, when I seen Deion Walker and Maxwell Harrison play pro, that's what the first thing came.
Yeah.
Pros, that's what they are, pros. And honestly, man, it's been working out beautifully. Shout out to this coaching staff as well for eyeing those guys and the development that continues to go with that as well. As you
Yes.
mentioned, I'm big on. I'm with, right there with you, Will, when it comes to Keyshawn Silver. I think I hate that Josiah got injured, man, but he can do some nasty things at the nose, and so that puts off pressure with Dion. When
Mm-hmm.
Ripka and Keyshawn step up the way they do, it takes off that pressure from Dion. But again, as you're about to go back to the linebacker situation, I know we're going to talk about the new guys on the team, but man, JJ Weaver, man, is a baller.
6 year
Yeah.
guy. I mean, this
Baller,
dude
man.
is he's
He
he's
was
and
huge
he's
that he
seen a
came back.
lot of activity, PJ, a lot
Hmm.
of action. This guy has got a lot of snaps under his under. You know what I'm saying? He's made a lot of big plays for us, and he's back. And
And
you're
here's the
talking
thing.
about super senior,
He
right?
didn't get a lot of they didn't talk about him a lot coming out of camp. But
Right.
he carried himself the way he's supposed to. They're saying behind the scenes, this guy JJ Weaver is looking the way that he needs to be looking. And I'm very excited about that because when we look at the front and include the linebackers, I remember 2018 a defense with Josh Allen where we was just wreaking havoc in backfields. I really think that's getting ready to return. I really do. I believe that's getting ready to return, and it's going to be fun to watch. We're going to wreak some havoc, dude.
Hey,
And but
it's pretty
again,
exciting.
yeah,
It,
again, we're still talking about experience. JJ Weaver, super senior. De'Eric Jackson, redshirt senior.
Pop Dumas Johnson, senior. Like I mean,
Yeah.
guys have had snaps, SEC snaps. So it's not like Here's the thing. When you've been a UK fan, right, for a long time, right, and all three of us have been, right, we've been in the trenches together for a long time having these discussions.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen teams be able to line up and run it down our throat. That's first and foremost, right? Not even talking about what happens at the skill positions or whatever, because guys are recruiting 5-star guys and we're trying to trade and develop up 3 stars and whatnot, right? But in the trenches, we can win against most, or we can stalemate out elite level lines. So now we're not getting. You can't just run on it. You can't just run 10 yards per carry, 8 yards per carry.
Right.
Now, now we're flooding you out to where you have to do other things. Now you bring in J.J. Weaver. Now you bring in De'Eric
Mm-hmm.
Jackson. Now you bring in Pop Dumas, who's seen a lot of games. So guys, and we
Yeah.
ain't even talked about the secondary yet.
Yeah, we ain't even talk about we ain't even talk about a guy that myself and PJ was just talking about, Alex Safari. The dude is very versatile. They're moving him up to linebacker, and it's just like, whoa.
I was
That
waiting. I was waiting for
speed.
you to get there.
What'd you say? Go ahead, P.
I was waiting for you to get there because Alex, man, we've talked about this before in the sense that like as guys who've played football, watched football all our lives, you know, there are some guys who are just football players. No matter where you put them, they love the game, they studied the game, they know how to play it, quote unquote, as you say, the right way, all those good
Mm-hmm.
things. And Alex, where he is, where some of those guys, I think, it's not necessarily that some of those guys are better than him at safety, as much as it is that we're trying to
Find the
use
find
all
the
the impact
optimum
players,
space
find
for it.
ways,
Yeah.
yeah, to utilize all our best
Exactly.
players on the field. So get him up to 222 was really massive because Jamin Davis was around 230 when he was playing
Mm-hmm.
linebacker in Kentucky, and he was doing a heck of a job. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because he just knows the game. He was flying to the ball. That's the same
I mean,
thing as for
Trevathan
Alex.
wasn't huge. Wesley Woodyard wasn't huge. I mean,
Yeah,
those
like he,
we've had
Alex,
major
Afari's gonna
success.
get to the ball fast.
Hmm.
Now you got a guy who can play in pass coverage because as we talked about, we have a D line that can really go at it. And if the D line is successful, right? If those guys help out Dion the way that we are expecting them to, it opens it up for guys like Afari to demonstrate their skills even in the pass game, right? They'll be able to
Exactly.
play the zones a lot better than some of the other linebackers we've had, who are a little bit slower. So I really love the move that we did with Alex Safari. I'm really looking forward to it.
And I'm gonna tell you guys, in addition to Silver, in addition to Deion Walker being pros, these two guys right here are pros as well. Pop Dumas
Yeah.
Johnson and Alex Safari.
And,
They're
and
pros
guess
as
what?
well.
Guess what? As you
What's up?
scroll down further, guess what? We're gonna find some more.
Yes, we
There's a
are.
few more.
We are. We
And
got.
this isn't cockiness. I'm telling you, this is proven guys that get to the football. This is a Stoops defense, a calling card. If Stoops could write up and be like, "Hey, listen, I'm gonna bank on something. Here's my calling card." He's gonna hand you the defensive roster and be like, "There it is. That's
Yeah,
my calling card."
yeah.
His foot, his hand, he's all over this. This is all. This is the team executing recruiting to the utmost in
I'm
this
gonna tell
roster
you.
right here.
I thought Jordan Lovett was older than the redshirt sophomore, but it's good to see he's going to be around for a while. Him and Ty Bryant, that's going to be a good 1-2 punch right there at free safety. And Zion Childress, I've heard some good
Oh
stuff
my
about him
goodness.
too coming out of camp. And Christian Story, both of those strong safeties. So
That safety group right there is like Ty Bryant got such good snaps last year, such good experience as a freshman, true freshman, getting thrown to the wolves and holding
yeah,
up against. I mean, he
yeah.
it wasn't like you could go find Ty Bryant and be like that guy's outmatched. No, sir. Ty Bryant was putting his hat in the pile. He led the team in tackles multiple games. That guy is a playmaker, and Jordan Lovett is also of the same ilk, just a little bit bigger, right, and a little
Mm-hmm.
older. We're not going to lose. Again, back to what PJ said. Getting guys on the field, you're going to see both those guys play together a lot. You're going to see combination packages where
Yeah.
one guy's close to the line of scrimmage, getting heat on the quarterback, or disguising coverage so we can do multiple things. And we haven't even talked about the corners. Whew.
Look, because we got Maxwell Harrison, the coaches believe. I'm gonna tell you guys as well. Just like I said, Barry and Brown. This is his last year at Kentucky. This is Maxwell Harrison's last year at Kentucky. I don't think that's a secret at all.
It should be.
He's going to be in the draft, guys. He's going to be in
He's
the
going to
draft.
be
He's going to be one of the top
he's a
taken.
first day. He's a first day or two guy. They send the top 3 rounds based on how he performs. Right, this
Yeah,
guy's going to make himself a lot of money if he remains healthy and does the way he's been. Right, he's grown and developed, and that guy is a guy. He's a guy.
and they got DJ Waller. I definitely want to see him as well. I want to see what he does.
Hey,
He's a
you know
big
what? I
dude,
was about to say,
6'3", 202 pounds, playing boundary corner. I want to see
it-
that.
Say it, PJ.
I was gonna say, man, because like I remember, I don't know if y'all remember earlier on when Stoops was here, you kind of could see the formula, if you will, of how they recruited their corners.
Big
They
corners.
liked really, really big corners.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? And I think while they're not like Maxwell 6'1", that's still a decent size of corner, 6'1".
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
you're starting to see a return with DJ Waller. You're starting to see that with JQ there, right? Like if
Yeah.
JQ comes back, he's gonna be leading the pack for us next year. With him and DJ Waller, you got two 6'3" guys who you're not gonna see the plays that you've seen like at Ole Miss. That's probably still hunting them. Where they just throw it up to DK Metcalf, even though DK's DK. And you got a 6'5" guy going against a 6'5'11" guy, and it's like ain't nothing you can really do about it. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
that cornerback group, to what we were saying, overall with JQ and Maxwell. Again, Maxwell's one of those guys who you can see it as a freshman, like, oh, he's just good. Like he makes the tackles, open field. You ain't trucking him for
Mm-hmm.
real. He know how to tackle you. He reminds you of like if you have a coach, you have those guys who are just really small on the field, but they know how to play. So it reminds me of with him, even though he's
Got you.
6'1", but he's still a little thin. You know what I'm saying? He knows
Right.
how to play. He's going to make good tackles, but his coverage game is really good, man. I'm really excited about the defensive group that we have here in Kentucky this year.
And
I'm gonna
one thing should be said. And like I said, PJ's been praying because he talked about this as well. Last year, our coverage was soft and a lot of times.
Oh my
And
God.
from what I was hearing, that was actually done by design. I don't know.
Well,
We
it
might
had
not.
to.
I know I didn't like it. I know PJ didn't like it. The
That
way Ross
Clemson
looked,
game,
he didn't like it either. But
bro.
from what I was
I'm a
told, that
defensive
was
guy.
done by design because we had some execution problems in our back end.
So
This
I'm
year,
going to give you a prediction, Will. Let me add one to your, and then please go carry on. I think the Waller kid's going to take the other starting corner position. I'm just saying. I think
you
that he's
know,
transferred in and he's learning the verbiage. He's behind in regards to UK's verbiage and concept.
yeah,
That kid. from Michigan, University of Michigan, national
Yeah.
championship. Michigan has a pedigree, and the guy is a boundary DB. You mean they can't move him to the field? The guy could easily. And again, I'm not knocking JQ because JQ had a tough year last year, in my opinion. But
Uh-huh.
it was thrown to the fire, right?
Yeah.
I think that you'll see Waller have increased position, say as the year goes on. Is my opinion. We'll
But
see.
and you're not the first person that I heard say that. I've heard some other people say I think that he's actually going to be a starter by the year's end. But then they
Mhm.
also say that Maxwell Harrison, that's one of the best in the nation. So
He's the
he's
guy.
obviously going
Well,
to take that
he's
other.
saying taking JQ spot. He's saying take JQ
Max
spot.
No,
Harrison
that's what I'm
is
saying. That's what I'm saying.
Harrison's locked.
So no, because nobody says JQ is going to be the starter for the whole year. They say two
Right.
things. They say Maxwell Harrison, he's one of the best corners in the nation. I think DJ Waller is going to be end up starting by the end of the year. So of course, yeah, they talked about he's going to take the other spot. He's going to take the other
Mhm.
spot from JQ.
Now listen,
But
if
the
JQ,
one
if
thing,
JQ, yeah, go ahead, Will.
no, but the one thing that I was going to say, because PJ was talking about us playing soft last year, said it was done by design. One thing that I've heard that Mark Stoops says that he wants to be more aggressive in the secondary this year. Now, that doesn't mean that we're not going to play zone. Zone is part of the scheme. We're going to play zone. But in those times when we were playing soft zone, they want to be up on these receivers playing man. So we'll mix in much more man, according to what they're saying. We'll mix in much more man, be up on these receivers and stuff, and give them less room. So I'm excited. I got to see that happen. Go ahead, Ross.
Hey, back to what you said about Alex Safari and being able to mix him into those packages, having the depth of the cornerbacks that you can send out nickel dime packages against these teams that spread you out, because we've had trouble, right? But
Yeah.
here's the thing: if our D line is how we think, right? And one linebacker, like let's Weaver or Afari or whoever we mix up towards the line of scrimmage, because we go multiple. We're three man, but we can go four man. We can look at different ways, right? But if we
Mm-hmm.
get adequate pressure, we should have the ability with our depth in secondary and
Yeah.
linebacker. It's going to be tough on you. And I
Yeah.
agree with you. I think because our depth has been young for the last 2 years in the secondary, right? Our safeties were freshmen and sophomores. Ty
Mm-hmm.
Bryant, Zion Childers, like they've been young. So you got to protect your back end a lot, right? And
Right.
I think that because our D line is strong, our linebackers are veterans, and you've got a wealth of talent at the secondary position, you're going to see a much more aggressive defense this year.
Yeah. Yeah. It's gonna be fun to see him get after it. This team is rounding up, and I hate it because the schedule is not the most favorable. And we
It is not.
start this where we have Texas. I gotta go to that Texas game. But
I'm going.
we don't have the type of schedules we had in the past. It's gotten a little bit harder. And so to see this roster come together the way it's come together and the experience, it's kind of like this would be the year that in like say our schedule from last year, we'd be like, oh yeah, that's 10 wins. But because the schedule is the way it is, we got people like Justin Niles that chimed in and said 8 wins. Dice Gilbert is saying probably 7-6. And I'm just like, the roster's great, but I can't blame you for saying that. I hate that. I
I
hate
know.
this roster right now.
True.
I mean,
I mean,
not the roster. I hate this schedule right now.
yeah, but listen, it's big boy football. This
Yeah,
is where UK. This is where I go again. The show is UK U of L, right? And I try not to bring U of L too often, but in this regard, we know that we're going to play a tough schedule every year. We're going to have 3, 4, 5, 6 top 25 type teams. Two or three national contending type teams are always on the schedule, right? The ACC is not like that, so they can easily prognosticate 8, 9, 10 wins and feel comfortable,
yeah,
right? It's harder for us. It's harder for us to do that because we play this in a conference that's just tougher. I'm not. Florida State came out and brought back. They 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 did lose some players, but they brought back a lot, and you see what happens on their first game, right? So the ACC is going to be in the same boat again, in my opinion. Same
yeah,
boat again. So, but
yeah,
now we add Texas and Oklahoma, two an already pretty challenging conference. So it'll be interesting. I agree. It's a challenge, big
Yeah,
Yeah,
challenge.
it's going to
I
be
think
very interesting.
the expectations and the results and just overall how we view it is kind of nuanced because I'll say it like this, and I may be getting ahead of myself. Someone told me, of course, they're not a fan of ours, but they was like, well, Kentucky fans are just happy with just a successful season, just winning 6 games and going to a bowl game. And I said, here, this is what I would tell you. That is actually not entirely true. Real Kentucky fans, as crazy as it may sound, we want to go to a playoff.
Oh,
As
yeah.
unlikely as it may be to a lot of people, we want to go to a playoff. We're actually not
See?
satisfied. And here's the nuance: we're not satisfied with 6-6 and going to a or 7-6 and going to a bowl game. We're okay with it in the sense that we remember when we was winning 3.
Yeah,
I
right.
grew up watching us get our head kicked in on a
Mm-hmm.
weekly basis in the SEC. To now, yes, I would much rather go to a bowl game than to only win 3 games
Yeah,
every time. But I
yeah.
think there is a level of expectation that is like rising. That like, hey, are we going to be able to get over the hump? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Without
Well,
being, I think ungrateful and everything of the fact that we know that we did in admitting that we've came a long way. It's like, okay, what's next? Can we not just stay here? Can we make a move to go to the next step? You know what I'm saying? I think that's kind
And,
of
you
like a nuance.
know, the people that say that Kentucky, the fans, they're just happy to go to a bowl or whatever, and not really talking about us wanting that playoffs. They got to understand we're also the same Kentucky where our fan base is just about split on. We want to keep Mark Stoops. Smart, and the thing is, Mark Stoops is the best thing that's happened to this program since Bear Bryant. But yet we're still talking about we need to get better. So of course we're not okay with just winning 6 games and going to a bowl. We want it all, just like
but people
basketball.
have the nuanced part of this conversation that you both brought up, right? Is that we were in a football heavy conference with a non-committed administration to football. It was
Yeah.
all basketball, right? And as time evolved, what we could say about Mitch Barnhart, whatever you wanted, he started allocating more resources. We started looking to coaches. We started upgrading facilities. We started the more investment, right? But with
Mm-hmm.
that comes incremental growth. You know what? We were fans that were itching to go to a bowl game. We were happy to go see a bowl game when we were 2-10 and getting beat 73-7 with Spurrier bombing the ball at the last second, up 63-6 or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, we've had to watch the program grow in a very challenging environment, right? But now we've stabilized, right? Outside of a COVID year, we've won 10 games multiple times, right?
Yeah.
We've been to high level bowl games. We've threatened late in the season to be in the East race to win our side of the conference. We're not there yet, but that's ascension. In
Right.
this conference, that's how it takes. There is no overnight success. Point to me Vanderbilt's meteoric rise. James Franklin came in, did a good job. They won 7 games, 8 games, 9 games, but he was never going to win the conference or title, right?
No.
Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. That's a tradition heavy program. Have they won the conference? Have they won a national title? It's how things go in this conference. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
It's
I,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, my bad. I didn't mean to cut you off, bro.
No, you're right. You're good.
What I was going to say was I think so the thing is, and I agree with Mags said. That's where I'm at with it, Mags. I believe that he has hit his ceiling. That's just me personally.
mm-hmm.
I love what Stoops has done. I'm not discrediting him or anything like this, saying he's a bad coach. I disagree with some of his methods, as we'll know, philosophies, but I'm also not a coach. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
that's just fan talk. But at the same time, I do feel like he's kind of hit his ceiling because I think the frustration that you will see seep through is not necessarily us losing to Georgia or to Bama. Yes, I want to beat those teams. You know what I'm saying? It's the losing to Missouri. It's the losing to Mississippi State and it happens in years where like
Right.
that one game seems to have like turned things away from us. You know what I'm saying? Like we're headed down a good
Mm-hmm.
path, and you drop this game to a team that I wouldn't even say it's better than you, but like you also lost it because you just made bad mistakes. You know what I'm
Sean
saying? And
Gurden,
so
what did he say? Let's be honest. The success that U of L was having in the 2000s
Hey,
in
who's
the
that coach
teams,
that he named
Petrino
though?
1.0, Charlie Strong,
what?
that
Who's
was
that?
probably y'all
Hey,
silly.
who's that coach right there? Who's that coach? Is that coach? Who's the coach? I'm not even talking. I might leave it alone.
And
Oh, he
Hey,
said
but listen,
so. Sean
but hold
said
on.
that forced Kentucky into
But let's be honest, though.
investment in
Again,
football.
back to this conversation. Louisville built up through the Metro Conference, the AAC Conference,
Yes.
the Big East football, which wasn't great either, and now the ACC, which is not great either. It's been a much different with the resources that Louisville has. Every time they moved conferences, they became a major player immediately. Every time.
Yeah.
Every every conference move, they became a favorite or a top 2 or 3 team due to resources that were already in place. Even when they had the Pizza Hut or the Papa Stadium or whatever they call their stadium, they were still better off than UConn in the Big East. They were still better off than Memphis in the Metro. They're still, let's be honest, they don't have the same trajectory. They didn't have to go play LSU and what they hang their hat on. Hey, we beat Florida in the Orange Bowl or whatever one time.
Right.
Yeah, we'll do it 8 weeks in a row.
Hey, I am so glad that William Perry Henderson is not on the show because he would bring up RPIs and everything else because he swears up and down when they was in the
RPI's
Big East, it
based.
was better than the SEC because of the RPI.
RPI's based. RPI's based. It's not.
oh
Get out of here.
gosh,
No one's going to use that. No one's going to ever say that in
yeah.
real life.
Not
I mean,
ever.
That guy's a
I
cartoon
think
character. That's not even real life.
I think we've done a wonderful job as far as like he's Stoops has done, and people joke around and say, "Oh, y'all gonna build a statue for Stoops?" Well, we kind of should because he has done really great things here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you're not gonna make me feel some type of way because of that. But I also think that there's a nuance that like we also are at this stage where people are kind of like the anticipation is rising, right? Like it's like, will we go to another step? And sometimes you see it with certain schools, and I think that's the hope is that okay, if Stoops is at his ceiling, is there a guy that's going to be able to take us,
Mm.
to the next step? And the thing is, we'll address that when it gets here. As far as right now, I think this season is extremely important for two reasons: for stability with overall success with recruiting and things
Mm-hmm.
like that. But with NIL in play, this season has to be a success.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be a success.
Yeah.
We watched. I don't know if y'all heard about it, but I know it's a big thing on Twitter. I'm on Twitter more than I am on Facebook when it comes to sports. On Twitter, it was an uproar because the Walton family and the Tyson family, they came out publicly at least wherever they are in Arkansas, and it's not just about basketball, but football, baseball. Like, hey, essentially, we're giving this much money, and people are like upset, and I'm like, but that's the whole thing that people.
That's
Some
the
people just
deal
have
there.
certain donors and they have donors who can give like that. That's on
Hey,
them. That's their money.
here's the
So
thing. They uncovered what was always the case anyway, right? This is
yes,
what the big programs and teams have always done. The boosters were doing it. It was not legal or whatever, but now it's an open.
But
yep, absolutely.
that was like Stoops' comments. Was it last year or maybe the year
Yeah,
before?
No,
Was
just
talking
a couple
about
weeks ago.
Georgia, and he said, man, he bought some great
they
players,
bought a hell of a team. Yeah,
and not even fans, but media just in an uproar. Stoops came back and said, that's not a slight against him. That's the name
he
of the
said, "I'm
game
not
right
knocking
now."
it." He said, "I would want to do it. I'm not knocking it."
Yeah,
Now that part though, because just a couple weeks ago we had a comment, or a month ago or so, we had a comment about from Stoops that like about the whole I'm spending more time going to these events and talking to people than I am with my
Mm,
football team. And like and somebody said, well, this is what he signed up for. And I'm like, well, technically, when he signed this contract, the
he didn't
NIL
sign up
was
for
not a
that.
thing.
That's
So it's
right.
not
that's true.
necessarily, but $8 million says you will be okay. You either can find somebody to do this for you. You
Hey,
know what I'm
hey,
saying? You either
listen,
got
it
to
Yeah,
worked.
find somebody. You
It
got to
damn
be
sure worked
creative.
for what the people said against Calipari.
Hey,
You know what I'm
listen,
saying? Like you make $8, so
exactly. Exactly. Y'all
exactly.
gonna say y'all told Cal you make nine figure it out. Well, tell him to figure it out.
tell him
Yeah,
to
I
figure
mean,
it
I
out.
feel you on that.
Get
That's
creative.
fair.
Open up
That's
a
fair.
position for the
But you know what? But
hosting
see, here's the thing. Here's the thing, though, PJ. Because on our alumni board, this came up. They said the difference was Kyle
Mm-hmm.
has 10 to
Mm-hmm.
13 players to worry about.
Mm-hmm.
Stoops has
True.
85 players to worry about. So it makes it
Exactly.
different for him.
Do
Yeah,
you have
it's a
position
business.
coaches? Do you have
It's a
offensive
business.
coordinators?
Hey,
Do you have
listen.
meetings?
Yeah,
So
it could.
look, I know he does. That's what I'm saying. Is that to me, I get it, but to me, it sounds like a cry from something else. And I guess what makes it sour is that we knew he tried to leave. I
Yeah.
don't want to
Yeah,
go into that because I know we're catching up with
yeah,
something.
right.
You
No,
know
it's
what
right.
I'm saying?
It's
So like,
fine.
Yeah.
if anything,
No.
this needs to be a stage where we have to recover
It's
because you're
fair.
saying that's not helping the recovery of this right now.
Hey,
No,
but
we
listen.
can talk about that. We can talk about
Yeah,
that because I actually
that's
think
fair.
that Stoops trying to leave was because of NIL too. I really
Well,
do
that was
think that.
initially. It was initially as a part of it for sure, right? That was the initial part for sure. But
Yeah.
like but think about this though, right? So let's again nuance, right? I think this panel is pretty good with nuance. When we say Stoops has hit his ceiling, he won 10 games at UK with an
Hmm.
SEC schedule. You know what I'm saying? So while hitting a ceiling is kind of a negative comment, but it's an understandable and a realistic comment. Let's be realistic. How many guys have hit their ceiling at 10 wins? That's a pretty damn solid ass number.
It
You know what I'm
is.
saying? Especially at a middling program in the SEC. And he's done
Hmm.
it multiple times in the last 5 years. So it's not like recency bias would lead us a one way or another. Him hitting his ceiling and building the program to where it is pretty stout. Kirk
Oh yeah.
Friends or whatever that's at Iowa has been winning 7 and 8 games for like 4 or 5 years in a row after a long time running of 8, 9, 10 wins. Has he hit his ceiling? Do we say that about Kirk Friends? But they look differently in Iowa. It's like an insulated.
I say he did.
No, he did right. Well, I mean, I'm saying again, I think
Yeah.
it's
Kirk
fair.
France,
I
he
think
did.
your point is real. Your point is real, but it's not a negative knock. It's like, but is there a guy that can take the baton and like, all right, you built it, Stoops, push, national
Yeah.
championship time or SEC title?
No, yeah,
That's
and that's why I said I'm not discrediting him, saying like he's like some bum off the street, nothing like that. He has done wonderful things. I think again, as you mentioned, even we say it, the conversation is definitely negative. A lot of times we say hitting the ceiling. I'm looking at it for more so merged into the marriage of us talking about expectation and how like the typical used to old expectation was we just want to win 6 games.
yeah,
And while it's been fine, we've gotten there to that point where we can expect almost every year we're going to go to a bowl game. That's just where we are now, our new expectation, right? But I
Yep.
would say, like for us, there are certain games that we also are expecting now that we shouldn't lose. Like I ain't gonna lie, look how much the game has
Mag fan.
changed. This year we come up here, we expecting to beat Florida. When I was a
Hmm.
kid, I never expected that ever.
Never.
Now we expect to be Florida, but now you got new opponents who are rising, who are on similar tracks, right? We're watching what Missouri's doing. Now it's like, hold on, we got to channel this because that's a winnable game. We was in a winnable position. We what was it, the fake punt or something like that happened? Like literally one play, and it happens multiple times. I think that's the
Yeah,
issue with a lot of people, or at least for me. Multiple games that we should have won, we lose because there's one play that happens that literally changes the discipline of us throughout the. I mean, I watched after that fake punt, our team go into a headspace, look like
shell.
mental space. I was like, I can't identify this team. I used to
And
be able to
doesn't
identify at least our
and
defense.
and doesn't that play into like the conservative approach that's been like a tried and true overall successful approach, but not game by game change the complexion of the game management, right? That's the difference, right? Some of these
Hmm.
guys are willing to roll the dice and do something out of character, where it seems like we play the percentages all the time, which gets us like overall decent success, but maybe not the meteoric big
Well,
year, you know?
Hmm.
playing the percentages, I think, is what lost us the Clemson game in the bowl game.
Definitely
That
defensively.
was a soft coverage that percentages say you should get it. But sometimes it's just not what you should do in every situation. I really do. I think
Mhm.
that's what lost us that game. And I know PJ, you wanted us to be more aggressive on.
Man, listen, but I do, and I don't want to come off as like I'm being unappreciative because I do appreciate what Stoops has done, and I'm definitely rooting for our team always. You know what I'm saying? But I
Yeah.
do that's the question that starts to come like when you see the possible transition right of like the NIL situation. I understand him trying to go, bro. I understand him trying to go Texas A&M. They got
Yeah.
NIL out boatload of it. Like they're trying to do what they can, right? Like I get it, but like them the way it happened, and then him now he's back here, and then the comments that have been made recently, right? It's like that's not gonna win back over. Really, you're trying to win, but you can't really win back over the fan base because it's already won the fact that the football fans are football fans. We've been here since the gutter.
Mm-hmm.
We're not
Yeah,
bandwagon fans at all. Unlike how
yeah,
basketball has a lot,
definitely
you know what I'm
not
saying?
bandwagon.
So we're still going to root for the team anyway. But I just felt like that was just bad taste for him to make
Well,
that comment because
and
it's like, bro,
So
yeah, I
I know
agree
Ross,
it's
with you.
changed.
I agree. I think I guess where I would say is like where I feel about it is, in those moments where it seems that we've deferred and played percentage, I would rather just like call our shot and go out guns blazing. Right? I'm not saying like risk it all every time 11-man blitz, or I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is like bring the house, throw the long ball, run the
Agree.
reverse, yeah, whatever. Like I'd rather like roll the dice. It seems like Lane Kiffin has done it. Josh Heupel definitely has done it. When they're playing Alabama or Georgia, it's like, like we try to out Georgia when we play Georgia, which is
yeah,
not going to happen. You're not going to systematically out Georgia, right? You're not going to beat them in a 4 down regular football game. But if you
yeah.
came out with a unique game plan and say, listen, I'm going to roll the dice with something different, take my shot. We might get ran at boat raced, or it works and it catches them off guard.
That I'm hoping Bush Hampton brings some of that riverboat gambling, but it has to be
A
something
little
that
bit.
Stoops
It doesn't have to
allows.
be how money. It doesn't have to be how money
Yeah, it
where
don't have
we're
to be
No,
that.
we're fake punting 50% of the time.
I just want to see. I just want to see you get creative. Like
I
you know
do.
what I'm
I
saying?
like
Yeah,
Like
that. I like
I
that.
want to see you get a little aggressive, step out of the norm
Yeah.
because now that's the expectation. People know that about you. Like they know you're gonna like. I'm pretty sure when we went to that defense, Clemson was like, "Yes, thank you,"
Yeah.
because we knew this is what you were gonna do,
Yeah.
and it fell
but
right
you
into
know,
our hands.
stepping out of the norm, that's the reason why I want to see what they do with Gavin Wimsatt, because that's supposed to be where the creativity comes in. It's not just, yeah, there's the Wildcat. We know that the Wildcat's there,
Oh no.
but it's
Yeah.
not
No.
just the Wildcat. It's going to be some other stuff as well too. They've said that there'll be plays where both quarterbacks are on the field at the same time.
They
So I want
should
to see what that creativity looks like.
for sure. That's a good point. And I think that you have enough depth. You have enough veteran leadership on both sides of the ball that you can do more, right? And I think if I'm picking up PJ's vibes, right, and I'm going to channel it with my own, I'm going to say I want to see Coach Stoops coach like it's his last year.
Yes,
You know what I'm saying? Like
yes,
like, and
PJ
whatever
has
that
said that
means,
too.
hey, whatever that means, right? I want you to do it. I want you to like whatever the things you've held on that you wanted to try and couldn't do it, do it. And this is to
Yeah,
see what happens. This is the group to do it with.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
What's the worst that can happen? And I think, we call it what we're playing with house money, right? Like we're playing a really tough schedule. That I don't care if you're a fan of us or not, or a rival of us. You look at the schedule, unless you don't have common sense, you're not going to say that this is just some easy schedule. This is a tough schedule, and regardless of that, you're playing with house money because okay, we know there's enough to get to the bowl game to satisfy fans in a sense, right? But there
Hmm.
are opportunities in these games that you see that we could shake something up. I'm not saying we will, right?
Right.
Before y'all
Right.
get too happy, Louisville, and try to say what I'm not saying. I'm not saying that we will, but I'm saying there's opportunities there. I'm not
Hmm.
Hmm.
saying that I think we're going to go out there and Texas get blown out. I'm not saying I don't think we're going to go to Texas and get blown out.
No.
And
Well,
I hope
I'm
we
not saying
don't.
we're going to win. But if we were to win, that would change a lot of
yeah.
stuff.
See, that's the thing.
You know
It's
what I'm
that
saying?
I'm
You
getting ready
game.
to ask
can't.
my
It's that
brother to buy
game.
some tickets, man. He lived down there.
Hey,
I'm gonna ask him to buy
hey,
some
that's
tickets. I
the
gotta go to that
game.
game.
That's the game, right? So I'm not necessarily Texas. I mean, I hope that's the game, right? But beating Tennessee, a highly ranked Tennessee, not some vagabond Tennessee, right? Or knocking off Ole Miss that's top 10, right? Texas is top 10. Winning one of those marquee matchups. We've already removed Florida from that discussion. We've removed Louisville from that discussion, right? But now climb the ladder. Tennessee has got to be a that gets off our. We got to start handling Tennessee at least in a position like when I watch like you know Georgia and Alabama play. You don't know who's going to win. It's a toss up. I mean, that's how I feel like the Tennessee matchup with us should be. We've got enough kids that have beaten Tennessee in Kentucky Tennessee All Star games. We're recruiting on level. We're bringing in transfer guys that are as good as theirs. that is a game that we need to win 50% of the time. Going forward, we can't change history, but we can damn
Mm-hmm.
sure change the now.
Kind of like what we did with South Carolina and Florida, how
And Florida, except yeah,
we slowly kind of like hacked at it. And I think the biggest thing, to your point too,
We got to
Ross,
get
is
that
like
back though. We got to get
I
that
want to
back
be
with
able to
South
watch the
Carolina.
game. Yeah, we got to beat South Carolina, right?
yeah,
We got to beat them. I think this is the year that we got to go out there and we got to make sure we beat Auburn and we beat Florida
yep,
and we
Yeah.
beat Van. Like, you know what I'm saying? But
yep.
like when I look at it when it comes to us in Tennessee, even using them as example, like there were times when I watched us play last year where I felt like they're just way more talented than us, right? Where I feel
But
like
was it scheme? But was it scheme? Because like when
I think it was a
okay,
mix.
think about this. We were better than them. We were better. I mean, I felt like we were more talented than them for a block of time when
Yeah,
Tennessee was going through whatever they were going through, and they still found ways to beat us.
Yeah.
right. That's what I'm
Right?
saying. Like last year, I was like, there were times in the game where I was just like, they're just more talented than us. I don't want to watch the game like that. I know when I
I
play
feel you on
Georgia,
that.
I know when I play Georgia and Bama that they're more talented than us. You know what I'm saying? But when I
Yeah,
play Tennessee, one, I want to win. Two, I don't want to be out there looking like, man, there's just two different type of levels of talent on the field. Not saying that that was the whole game completely, but there were
yeah, I
just
got you.
spots in the game where I just felt like they did this because of one scheme, and two, I felt like they just
I'll
got
say this.
more.
I'll say this. In some of those games last year, I think that two things got in Kentucky's way. Number one, fundamentals. And when I say fundamentals, especially that defensive front, the way
Mm-hmm.
we was playing. When I told you guys I was nitpicking on Keyshawn Silver, some last year, it was the fundamentals with him and what we was doing up the middle. I think we were sometimes trying to be too athletic and not just big and try to stop
Yeah,
that.
stop the
Which
line.
yeah, and they let some stuff through that we usually don't do that. So I think that was part of it. And so when you say I don't understand why we can't get it over the hump, I think the other part of it is discipline a little bit, because it looks like that sometimes we get.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say big headed, but we get overconfident sometimes, and I think that's when we come into a game that we should win and we lose it. You know,
Or a game
it's
like Ole Miss happens. Like we did enough. We did
mhm.
enough to win the Ole Miss game, right? That game breaks you. The Missouri game
Yeah.
breaks you. Like the games that we've been right there. Imagine both of those things happen, right? You've got a game like that you're on the minus side of shenanigans. Like just like the offsides call happens and then you fumble the ball here, it's over. Missouri fake punt happens, you're up 2 scores, could have put them away, got conservative, fake punt
Yep.
goes, flip the script. A Mississippi State game, or like it's always like it's that one game difference. It's like you win that one, you now are like in elite territory. We've been 5 or 6-0 3 or 4 times in the last 6 or 7 years, like in a position to say, okay, Tennessee game or Georgia game or whatever the marquee game is, and we laid an egg right
Hmm.
there. And then that makes it like now all of a sudden you're like, okay, we're teetering. An injury happens. Now you got your backup quarterback in. Now it's like, okay, now we're managing, and we get up 7-5, 8-4.
Yeah. And CJ, you said you a South Carolina fan. You think it'll be a good game, a toss up this year. I'm gonna
Nope.
tell
If
you,
any,
you guys better win that, because I think you guys are in the same boat Florida is in, where you have really tough schedules with the coach that is itching to the hot seat. I think Florida.
yep.
I'm
Florida's on the hot
operating as
seat.
if Florida's going to have a different coach next year. You
Yeah, I don't think
guys,
he's making.
you guys probably won't have a different coach next year, but that seat's going to be hot for real.
I'm hoping that game against Florida is going to be a night game because I really want to go to that game.
Yeah.
That's the game I really want to go to. And that Texas game does sound really, really nice as well. But yeah, I think so. When I look at the schedule, of course, you have Southern Miss the
Let's do it.
first game.
Let's do the schedule. We'll break it down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Let's
let's look
go.
at the
yeah,
schedule. Let's look at the schedule.
yeah.
All
Let's
right,
go,
give me
man.
a second.
Yeah, that's a good call. Let's do the schedule and let's talk about it.
So,
Let's be realistic.
and while you're pulling it up, we know we got Southern Miss, right? Southern Miss they fell back to 3-9 last year. Some people are expecting them to go like 6-6 this year.
Yeah, decent
So they're
team.
a little bit better. We was up by like 25, and they made like a little comeback last year. But
Mm.
I think we still handle business. We have
Yeah.
that's a no brainer. Get them
So
out the way.
let's do this. Let's do this. All right. Each game that I call, Tell me, PJ, you think we're gonna win or lose? Then Ross, tell me if you
Yep.
think we're gonna win or
Yes,
lose. Let's go and count
All
those
right.
up.
Yep. Dub.
So, Southern Miss, dub for both.
is dub.
Dub.
All right, South Carolina.
Have to beat them. You have to win this
Hey,
game.
this might listen. So asterisk. I think that we get a win, but
Yes.
that game right there could be the linchpin game of the season.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. That could
Absolutely.
be. So we at 2-0 right now, both?
Listen, if you're 2-0, College Game Day is coming to UK,
Yep. Against Georgia. Absolutely.
Woo! In Lexington at 7:30 with the
bro.
new
A
lights.
night
I'll
game.
be at that game for
Come
sure.
on, fam. We all will.
I
Hey,
will be
get
at
your
the game.
tickets
Let's go
ASAP. I
from
need
there.
to be at that
Yeah.
game. I need to be at that game. So what we
So
got? Win
realistic-
loss right here.
realistically, we're
Anybody
taking a
predicting
loss.
upset?
No. Now
Yeah.
let me see
Georgia's
how
tougher.
hey, let me see how it's going, but I'm going to say loss for this particular exercise.
I feel
Yeah,
you.
yeah. I'm on the same wavelength, Ross, because I don't think anything's impossible.
No, it's not
But
impossible.
Georgia's very, very tough,
Georgia's
man. So
Georgia.
I would have to see us play like astounding in these first two
Yeah, right.
games to really get the
And be
confidence. to
healthy.
say-
There's a lot of things that go into that.
And it's a night game too. And sometimes I ain't
I
gonna
like
lie.
that.
Just a couple years ago, I was
Yeah.
at a game that was a night game, and we lost because they called a holding call on us when the field goal went in, and we should have won the game.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then we ended up
Yeah.
missing the next. So
So we
We'll
both
take
we
the L here.
everybody's 2-1 right now. Everybody got
2-1
Kentucky
right now.
2-1.
Across the board. Yep.
Then we follow
Yeah.
up with Ohio
went
Should
back
be a
28.
select.
Got you.
Yep.
at 3-1. Ole Miss. This is going to be another marquee game if you
This
ask
is
me.
the other linchpin game. In my
Yes.
opinion, on the schedule, the South Carolina and Ole Miss game determine the trajectory.
Yes, it does.
And
I
With-
don't like us at Ole Miss.
I'm going to say loss because I feel like I'm going to just go with percentages as we speak.
Yes.
Lane Kiffin is itching to move them to the upper echelon, and they're sixth in the country. Bring a lot of
Yes.
firepower back. They're going
We're
to be
trying to
tough.
get to that playoffs for
Woo.
sure. And when that, you don't have to win the conference champ. You don't got to win the conference championship now to be in the playoffs. So
Sure
they got a
don't.
chance. They have to be those winners. They have to take care of teams
They have to beat
who
us.
like us. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They
Yeah.
have to beat us. So I don't like that game for us at
I'm
Ole
going to say
Miss.
loss.
Why
Yep,
isn't
same.
this in Lexington though? Wasn't we just there?
We
I'm
doubled
sorry,
up
man.
back to back with them. You tell
Come
me.
on, man. That's
tell
SEC. They screwed us on that one.
They got
All
they
right,
piped
so
us.
everybody's 3-2. Everybody's 3-2.
3-2. Yep.
Then we got
That's a
Vanderbilt.
win.
Got to
Get out of
win.
here, baby. That's a win.
It's got to be a win.
Has to be. Yeah, there's no way. Vanderbilt's a bad program. Bad right now. They're just not there.
And it's in Lexington. You got to win that game.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that has to
You
be.
bet not, Mark Stoops.
Is that homecoming?
4-2. Yeah, that's homecoming.
Yeah,
Mhm.
write that
So
one up.
that's
The-
Oh yeah, it
Four
is,
and
it
two.
is.
Everybody's at 4-2 right now.
Here's
Florida.
the stretch.
The way
Win.
game is crazy, but we got to win this
Win.
game.
That's
I got to
a
win right now. I feel like we on our new
Bro, we
era.
own
right now.
Florida.
So
We
gonna win.
I'm halfway arrogant against Florida. Man. We own Florida. So listen, there's one program that I want to talk crazy to. It's Florida because
They little bro now.
we flipped the script on them. We own them.
They little bro
Hey,
now.
hey, they should be so beat up, man. Like
Oh,
their schedule is
by the
murdered
time
wrong.
we see them, because they got a tough schedule. So by the time we see them, they should have wounds and bullet holes.
Right.
Wounds.
I view Florida as like a lesser version of Louisville right now.
Yeah, Louisville 2.0, Louisville 1.5.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, so 5-2, 5-2. Here's another marquee one. Oh, and it's in Lexington. I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
I'm
that
glad
might
it's
be
in
a game.
Lexington.
Bro, listen, that's a win. We're gonna beat Auburn, and that should be a
Oh.
good game. We're gonna beat Auburn.
Okay, 6-2. Ross, what do you say, PJ?
I'm like 55-45 right now that we win that game. I got to see how we play. I think we win the game. I'm my confidence and my fan wants to say we win that game, but there's
Yeah.
something that's like I'm kind of like not
I
necessarily
know.
questioning it, but I'm like, man, I got to
Sure.
have to see Auburn to be honest with you like that to know what they really are.
Understood, and that's fair,
feel you.
right? I mean,
Because
this SEC is like this, bro. How many games can we look at this and be like, God bless, it's a 50-50 game? Like, who knows?
exactly,
man?
because I mean, we could get the Auburn of last year. If we get the Auburn of last year, then it should be a win for Kentucky. But if this
Right.
was a vastly improved Auburn, which it really easily could be, it might not be an easy
It
win.
remains to be seen. That's one of the things. Like
So-
it's,
How
it's
I'm
to be
approaching-
announced.
How I'm approaching this current exercise is I'm leaning on our trenches. I'm saying that we're built in the trenches right,
Mhm.
that we have more longevity than we normally have had in the last few years.
And it's a home game. We
And it's a
should
home
win
game.
this game.
So
Correct.
y'all know y'all trending at 6-2
Six
right
and two.
now.
Yeah, but
Six
this
and
is where it
two,
gets dicey. Yep.
and then got
Loss.
Tennessee.
I ain't gonna lie to you. We
Well,
might be a loss this year, bro.
until we figure that out, it's 6 and 3. I
Be a
mean,
loss.
Got you.
we haven't solved that, Mister. Yeah.
6-3, 6-3.
Yep.
Then Murray
Blowout.
State.
40.
Blowout.
We
If you gotta
if
win
we
by
lose this
40, don't
game,
win
the
by
season's
40.
over.
Go home.
Yeah. And get your play. Yeah, right. Marion Brown for like 747 yards receiving in that game.
Yeah, 7-3,
Yeah.
7-3. Texas.
Lost.
Loss. Yeah.
Now I plan on going. So I plan on turning all the way up, and I hope that we have a great contingent of fans out there, and I'm guaranteeing you that Texas fans are going to be great to UK fans. You know what I'm saying? I could just see the energy between those fan bases will be good. And now we go out
It's
there and
something new. It's
stock
something
them.
new. You know what I'm saying? It's something new. Like,
It's true.
Yeah,
ain't no
yep.
animosity.
It's
I
going to be
got to go to
interesting.
that game. I don't
Gonna be
expect
lost.
us to win that game.
Meaning
Yeah.
Loss. 7-4.
With,
unfortunately.
with a
7-4
chance.
right there.
With a chance. Put a
Yeah,
little
with a
little nugget in there.
chance. I agree with that. With a chance.
Yeah.
Hey, Richard Henderson, we are going to this game. Just like we did last year. We going to
I
this
hope,
game,
I hope
bro.
it's a night game. I hope it's a night game so I can go.
I hope it's a night game too, because that's gonna make it even better.
I think it's a win for us. I actually like Louisville's team this year. I think Louisville's going to be really nice this year. I actually think it's going to be very similar to last year. That they're going to have a really good team, and that last game of the season they're going to come down to Kentucky and Commonwealth Stadium, Kroger Field, whatever you want to call it, and they're going to lose.
You know,
And
I think so too.
matchup predictor on ESPN. 55.8% Louisville, 44.2%. Now again,
It was
not a
worse
game that's
last
been
year.
played.
Yeah, it was
That's
worse
this year.
last year.
Yeah, last year they had us beating them like it was like 60-something%. They had us. They was going to beat us, but I'll always
And I'm
repeat
not.
that my daughter has
Listen,
never seen
no, I
Kentucky lose
agree.
to Louisville.
Listen, until
Never.
they should listen. If they're being fair and honest, right? If those guys are that, which I don't expect, right? They should look at the same thing that we look at Tennessee, the way it's been with them. They should look at us that way. They should say we have a good team. We feel confident. We're going to win 9 wins. We're going to go in there and we're probably going to lose. You know what I'm saying? I think that I think that they should feel that way in their discussion.
Yeah.
Until because what's it? 5 wins, 6 wins straight. What is it? I mean, it's been a long. It's been. I don't even know what it is. I stopped talking
It's been
about it.
5, I think, because
I
my
think it's
daughter has not
5.
seen
I think it's
Louisville
5.
lose.
We
She was
don't
born in
have a player.
2018.
We don't have a player on the team that's lost to Louisville. So
Right.
I think Dietrich, you said that earlier. We don't have a player on the team that's lost to Louisville.
I like
But
Max
check this
calling the
out.
upset
Mags
Louisville.
was calling the upset at Texas.
I like that.
Mags,
Go
I
big
hope
or
you're
home,
right.
man. Go
Because
big or home, like
Hey,
for
listen.
real.
If you call that,
Hey.
call Tennessee. Hey, do want to say Tennessee too? Because I want both of them. Give me the
Oh,
burner.
man. If we beat Tennessee, prepare to be sick of me. Is that what they
Me
say?
too.
Prepare
I'm
to
telling
be sick
you.
of me.
I'm telling
Leon
you.
Mack, brother, you better block me if we beat Tennessee, brother. Because I'm telling you now.
Leon's gonna be missing.
We
Sean
gonna make you
Gurton,
delete
he's just talking
Facebook,
about how
brother.
Ole Miss is really good. Sean, I agree with you, and
Yeah,
and you know I'm a Lane Kiffin fan. I'm a Lane Kiffin fan. That's gonna be a tough game. I don't think there's gonna be a blowout. It's gonna be a close game, just like it was last time. I don't think. Here's the
We
thing
had Ole Miss beat.
with those two teams. I don't think that we're that far apart. I think it's really what we've seen. I think it's really been a product of how our coaching staffs has been handling the team.
Yeah,
if you
contrast
ask
of
me.
styles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like
So-
with the difference between in that game we had one. If you remember, I mean we put the ball on the carpet at their goal line. We scored the
Yeah.
touchdown. We got called back. Barian Brown inexplicably doesn't return the kickback like he's by himself. And I don't know how that happened. There were so many things that happened that freakily ended up against us. We actually
Yeah.
won that game. I mean, we were right there to win that game. So
Yep.
Look like CJ, he agrees with me. South Carolina, they got a murderer's row at Oklahoma, at Alabama,
Ooh.
at Kentucky. Then he got Texas A&M. Shh.
Y'all
You
not
said
getting 8 wins, bro.
you may get 8 wins.
Y'all not getting 8
Man,
oh, that's 1, 2, 3, 4 right there. I mean, you're gonna win at the rest of them.
Y'all not getting 8 wins, CJ.
I don't know about that,
That's a
CJ,
tough
man.
schedule.
I don't know. Yeah, it's a tough schedule. I really
I
think
like
that
the
Florida's
faith. I
going to
like
be looking
the
for
faith,
another coach
CJ,
next
but
year
it's-
too, though.
I don't think it's happening, bro.
And their coach may be on the hot seat, right? Like depending on how that season goes.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So that
mean,
coach is gonna be going
he's
for broke.
he's he's kind of on a hot seat. If they have a losing season this year, or they don't have a great season this year, I think the seat gets even hotter. I just don't think that he gets fired yet. Now, Florida's, I really believe that after they have the
Really
season that
neighbor.
I think they're going to have, he's out of here.
Hey, so do y'all think? Let me ask you this question, you two. Be realistic, right? We're looking at the SEC.
Uh huh.
Where are we in the hierarchy in real life? I'm not talking about. I'm saying like obviously you've got
Ooh.
Alabama, Georgia, right? I mean that's
Yep.
pretty much at the top. I mean then you're gonna have. We're talking. This is a collective conversation. So I'm just talking with us
Right.
together. So the next group would be Texas in that mix, right? I mean,
Yes.
from what they've done,
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma,
You have to
uh,
put Tennessee right there.
Tennessee,
Almost
maybe.
they've been playing
Yep.
lately. So
Tennessee.
Ole Miss is probably in that
Ole Miss is
chapter
there
too.
too.
And then with that, the next group would be
Us,
us.
LSU,
I
Auburn.
Is that LSU above us, right? I mean, probably.
I,
Or
I would
we've
say that
actually
we're at the bottom of the second tier, at the top of the third tier. That's what I think that
okay.
we're
That's
at.
kind of what that's what I'd look at it too. South
Yep.
Carolina, Missouri are probably in the same range.
Yep.
Would you
Missouri, because
Mm-hmm.
agree?
Missouri, they've been playing really well. They've bounced back tremendously. So I'll put them right there neck to neck with us, honestly, because they've bounced back really well.
Yep.
Mag said 8 and 9 ish. Yep, I think so too. And it's funny because Mag says 8 or 9 ish, and that's what kind of what we're all thinking. But
Yep.
I think Louisville they'll and probably end up being second in the ACC again.
Of
I still don't
course.
think that they'll beat us.
Who are they gonna? Who are they gonna? I mean, who's good in the ACC? Right? Florida State was the proverbial. Right? You got Georgia Tech that seemed decent.
Hey,
I
Yeah,
mean,
I don't really.
Georgia Tech
I
might
mean,
actually
really,
beat
same
the.
conference.
I think people are kind of high on Clemson right now. I think people think that Clemson is going to shock people. Um,
Yeah,
but
Hmm.
when you really talk about the SEC, ACC, I mean, and when I know that's not our grouping, you know, it's just a lot of hope. We hope Clemson's going to be good. We hope that Miami's going to be good, right? So right now, a lot of people have Louisville winning like a lot of games because of the fact that the ACC is so down, historically down, really, and then Florida State losing. Probably heard it. How many teams make the SEC playoffs? I don't know because we got to see how it's going to be gauged this season. This with
yeah,
the new 12 team roster thing is going to get dicey. But last year we know that there would at least been like 4 or 5 almost.
Yeah,
right.
one
It was
guy.
the
I
rankings
mean,
when we went over the rankings and it was like four of them.
Georgia
But
loses,
isn't
right? Or Alabama loses late, and you get
Yep.
shafted, or Georgia loses, get shafted out of the end. I mean, they would have been in
Well,
this
now they don't
time.
have to win the conference championship. So now, like last year, Alabama and Georgia would have been in. I think
Yeah,
it
but
was Ole Miss or
exactly.
Missouri would have been in
Yeah, there'd have
because
been a
of.
three. There'd have been three
Mhm.
for
yeah? I'm
sure.
gonna
Yep.
say I'm gonna say just go out on a limb that there's gonna be three to
Four maybe.
four SEC teams in the playoffs. I really want to lean towards three, but I think that's going to be in the
It would not
playoffs.
shock me if Alabama, Georgia, which Alabama's still a thing we
Texas,
have to wait and see because they got a new coach, right? But
Mm-hmm.
Alabama, Georgia, Ole Miss, I think is very
Texas,
realistic that they could be there.
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma's one. I do not like how Oklahoma plays defense, and that's where I'm worried about Oklahoma. But they have the offense to scare a lot of teams in the SEC for sure.
And what do you all think? How do you think this? How do you think this? This is another question. I know that we're running late on the show, but Texas and Oklahoma stylistically, how does that impact the SEC, and how does the SEC impact them? Like on a week again. I think I think Louisville fans have lived in this chasm for a long time. It's like a one-off, right? They beat so and so in a bowl game with a month prep. It's different when you play 8 straight,
Right.
of these
You're right.
types of teams. And I'm not saying that everybody in the SEC is good. No, they're not. We haven't been good. Vanderbilt's not been good. I get it. But when you play LSU, Auburn, Alabama, you get Georgia, Tennessee, stop it. Y'all have not seen anything like that. You
Right.
know what I mean? So how does that impact Texas? Now the Big 12 has been challenging in a different way, right?
Hmm.
They've got like unique offenses. It's athletic, but how does it happen? The SEC is different. You know
I
that.
think
I
I think that's
think
the yes.
I
My
think
bad.
that stylistically Texas fits. I think the one thing that I get, and I think even their roster does as well. But I think what I have to see is if they have the depth to do it week in, week
Mm-hmm.
out, like you saying, Ross. That's one.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one question that we don't have, because we know that they can. If in a 1 week playoff, they can stand toe to toe with Alabama. But can they
Definitely.
do it every single week? Don't know. You
Yeah,
know.
I think the thing is the uniqueness that they bring as far as in style of play is going to be a help. I think the earlier they play good SEC teams, the better. I think the longer it goes on, people adapt, people kind of get used to you. I think it kind of goes against them. But I think athletically and how they built their teams, they will be very competitive in the conference. I don't expect them to come in here and be one of the bottom tier teams.
Missouri
I
came
think
in
they'll
right
go
away and
be
competed.
above LSU.
You know what I'm saying? Missouri came right in from the Big 12
Yeah,
and jumped in and
I
got
think they'll
got
be
busy.
above LSU because
Ooh,
when Missouri came in, you really didn't know nothing about Missouri. They
no,
came
Right.
no.
in, they played their game. It was a different style, like they
Chase
played, right? And I
Daniels
think
and
same
them.
thing with Texas,
Mm-hmm.
Oklahoma. Very pass happy, kind of similar, more so to how Ole Miss does with passing, but still different variations. But it's going to be a new look, and so I think year one they actually might fare pretty well. Um, I'm excited to see it overall.
Hey, you know what's gonna be cool though, right? Check this out. Is the recruiting, because the conference formation is different. So
Hmm.
now you're going to have people like Alabama, Georgia, and them who, I mean, they've always had homegrown, right? And it's always been like, well, they just recruit from home, but they're going to dip into Austin, Texas, and Houston, Texas, and go grab some guys. And we're going to be looking out there too, right? Because that's what happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not only do we add the market and the media, but the recruiting, because you start seeing those teams differently, now become a viable option for those players. So
Hey,
the recruiting change landscape will be crazy.
we've
You
already
imagine bringing
started
them
going
big
down to Texas
Oklahoma,
too.
Texas linemen. You bring them big linemen from Oklahoma out here to SEC country.
Yeah,
Stop.
and you can use it to
Mm-hmm.
get it's a recruiting tool because you can say, "Oh, Texas is not offering you. Well, we
Yeah,
believe
we're in
you're
your
this.
pocket.
We believe you're that."
Uh huh.
And you can play Texas too. You
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
can play them. On the
Let's
road. You
check
can
this
play.
out. So the ESPN matchup predictor for Saturday is Kentucky winning is a 86% chance of winning, 14%
Okay.
chance of losing,
So we want
which
to know
looks about right.
by the predictor,
Yep, by the
28-point
predictor.
spread.
The 28-point spread is what kind of surprised me.
I kind of fade that. If listen, if I was a gambling man, I would be looking at the fade of the line. You know what I'm saying? If that was the real line, I'd be looking at the fade.
Yeah,
Because I don't know that we know enough just yet. You know what I'm saying?
I thought
Now
our sales even could be 28.
we come out in
I
28,
guess if you
but
look at the last 5 games, they lost to Troy, they lost to Mississippi State pretty handedly. They lost to Appalachian State. They beat was at Louisiana Monroe and then
Monroe
Louisiana. So they haven't really.
21 Mississippi State. That was at Mississippi State. So I mean, they're not like it's hard to say, right? Because look, we can do the same thing with us. We got Peace by Alabama. We lost to South Carolina, lost to
Yeah,
Clemson. Like it's not like we're the most attractive in that scenario.
right.
And we
Yeah,
got new offense. I mean, I think that there's some guesses. I would think in those situations, like when there's like a lot of question marks, three scores is a lot in college. You know what I mean?
hmm
It's not like we're Alabama and this is Appalachian State coming up from the FCS. So
right.
it'll be interesting. And we played them last year, right? Or Southern Miss, or the last time we played them
Yeah,
was a
we did.
damn wound up being a challenging game in the fourth
It was up
quarter.
25 and they came back.
hmm
So
So I think that we can't have them coming back this year, especially
no,
what how old our
no,
roster is, what we're
yeah,
expecting to do this year. Yeah,
nah.
we got to hit them in the mouth and keep them.
That's the part of it where we got. I mean, I don't think that we don't have the same learning curve as last year or before.
Yep. I think if we come out and we're more disciplined in in our assignments and everything, we'll be fine. We'll be
Yeah,
fine.
we will.
I think part of the issue with us last year also was Liam Cohen. As much as I like Liam Cohen, that offense that he ran was just too difficult for college. I mean, he did a better
I
job
mean,
running it
Well, it was
than
with
Rich
the
not
personnel.
Scangarello
Liam.
did, but
Rich, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, you got to have the right. See, again, the same thing with like OCs are tied to the quarterback, right? No matter how this goes, the right guy pulling the trigger for your moves and your operation. And I don't think that Leary and that guy were the right mix. I'm not knocking Leary. I don't want to scapegoat that guy. You know what I'm
yep.
saying? But because his receivers didn't do him a lot of favors last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Well, guys, we're about an hour and 30 minutes in. I think we're going to end it here. We had a good overview of the college football for Kentucky football. You see, we're all thinking right here about 8-4 season. Hopefully, we don't have one of those games that Stoops usually has that we should win this game, but we end up losing. If so, maybe that knocks us down to 7. Maybe we win the game that we shouldn't win. I don't know, but we're gonna. That's a wrap right here. Also, remember what I just told you guys in the beginning of this show. Like and share and subscribe YouTube as well as Facebook. And when I say Facebook, I'm talking about our group down here at Cats versus Cards. Go ahead and like and subscribe to that. You do that, we're looking for 1,000 likes. You will enter your name into a drawing. Everybody's point down. Enter your name into a drawing to get a $300 gift card. All right. Like I said, we're trying to run that for 4 weeks. This is the first week. We got 3 more shows. Then we'll do that drawing. All right. Until then, anybody got anything else to say?
I do. One thing left. Listen.
Good luck on the season. Go ahead.
Hey, at the end of the year, we will still be better than Louisville.
It had to come out at some point. It waited till the very end. I tried to keep it in. All right. The end of the year, we'll still be better than Louisville. We're going to end it on that point. All right. Everybody have a good week. Peace. Oh, let me come up. After the game Saturday, we're going to try to do a Twitter space. Come join us for the Cats versus Cards Twitter space. All right. We're going to do that live.